I'm on the southwest corner of Forsyth Park in Savannah. If you've seen my other video about the 22 squares of Savannah, this was built right after those, when the city started to outpace the use of those squares in that design. So over a 10-year or so period through the 1840s and 1850s, this was built as kind of a final square for the expanding area south of the city. So once you get to the end of the squares, head south, you'll see this park. So I want to go around and kind of show you some of the things that make it so cool. It's really beautiful. It's kind of like the Central Park of Savannah, if you will. It's right in the middle, and it's quite beautiful. Everywhere you go, you kind of see this hanging Spanish moss. No exception over here. So starting from the south, over here you've got Park Avenue, and on Park Avenue you've got a coffee shop, a couple restaurants down Bull Street right here, and a little market. It's really nice. I really like that coffee shop. I've been there a few times. And then as you enter the park, you'll see this guy. One of the many statues and monuments here. He's to commemorate the soldiers from Savannah that fought in the Spanish-American War. As far as how big Savannah was, there was a very large number of soldiers proportionately that fought in the Spanish-American War that came from here. And so this statue is here to commemorate them. So once you start right behind the statue, there's a path that goes through the center of the park, and it's really pretty. There's actually a farmer's market that's here every Saturday. Kara and I come to the farmer's market most weekends, and it gets really, really busy. I kind of wanted to film it, but I didn't know how busy it would be. There'd be too many people. But I don't even know her name or the name of the company. Maybe if I find it, I'll put it in the description. But there's a girl who makes bread, and she sells it at the very far end of the path, right before you get to the statue. And a lot of people want to be good at something. I'll tell you what, she's good at making bread. We always get a loaf from her every week. I don't know if I just got smaller or if I just saw three of the biggest dogs I've seen in a long time. But yeah, so as you come up this path, you're going to hit some of the main sites that are in Forsyth. And on either side, you'll see here, they've got these big parks. It's somewhat early in the morning on a weekday right now, so there's not too many people here, but once it gets a little bit later on the weekends, you're going to see a lot of people laying out, playing sports, playing with their dogs. I stopped by here yesterday, and there was actually a huge water balloon fight, which was pretty fun to watch. I think if you kind of look up what to do when you come to Savannah, or you were to ask anyone, it'd be hard to find anyone that doesn't have Forsyth on the top 3 on that list. It's easy to get to, even today. I mean, every single day you just see tourists everywhere taking pictures, and they say the fountain here, which we'll get to, is the most photographed thing in Savannah. So this is the first monument that you really get to as you walk into the park, and it's a memorial actually to commemorate the Confederate soldiers that died in the Civil War. Savannah and Georgia are part of the South and part of the Confederacy, pre-Civil War. So it's a complicated part of history, but it's still really interesting. They say that this is one of the largest memorials to Confederate soldiers that exist in the country. It's pretty. You'll see a couple of the generals, statues of their heads around. Again, it's complicated, but something to enjoy while you're here. So I'll show you one of those headstones or statues. I don't even know what you call this, but I guess the soldier on the top was actually added maybe 5 or 10 years after the monument itself was built. And once you pass that, there's this theater area that's really cool. So you got this big park here. Again, most afternoons, weekends, you're going to see a lot of people here. Very, very busy. And then they have this. And things are still weird down here. Everything's, you're not gonna have big gatherings and stuff like that. So luckily you can enjoy the park and kind of stay spread out, but they'll do concerts here, performances. I hope while I'm down here that I'll get a chance to see one. And then here, this will give you a real view of how big this grassy area is. So once you're in the center of the park, you're gonna see behind me is Drayton, and on this side is Whitaker. So these are two main roads that go north and south. Most of the roads are laid out in a grid pattern like you'd find in any city, obviously because of the squares here. And those squares actually interrupt a lot of them as you're going north and south. Or Bull Street, which is one of the main streets, gets interrupted by the park here. But Whitaker and Drayton actually will take you all the way up to Bay Street, which is kind of on the water, and then all the way down through the city. So these are two of the main avenues that really connect the whole city together. You got some parks here. And then next to this park, behind the theater here, is it's actually a restaurant. I think it's called Collins Quarters. They have 2 locations in the city. I haven't been, but they both actually look really good, and they're both always really busy. Serve, I think, primarily breakfast. So I'll take you up through the park, up to the fountain. It's gonna be harder to film because this is where it gets really, really busy with tourists. But I'll show you the fountain, and then I'll give you some facts about it around it. So you can see some of the basic information about the park. A lot of times you'll see shops, guys like this, putting up shops. When they have the farmers market or on the weekends, you'll see a lot more. Another staple of Savannah's bachelorette parties. Yeah, I see a million of them dressed up all the same, walking around. You can see it's a good place to come. I mean, a lot of bars and restaurants to go to, good food, and then there's always stuff to do during the day. So it's a good idea. So I'm staying off a little bit to the side because there's a lot of people. But this is the fountain in the center of Forsyth. Very famous. You've probably seen it in pictures before. It's in a bunch of movies. I think it's in like The Longest Yard and a few other movies. But This fountain here was built in the 1850s, and it's actually this type of artwork or architecture, I guess you'd call it, was very popular at the time and was considered very sophisticated. And the funny thing is that while this is a very famous fountain and it's shown a lot, it was actually ordered out of a catalog. It's like a pre-made design, and you'll find the exact same fountain in I think Madison, Indiana. There's one in Paris, there's one in Peru. So around the world there's a bunch like this that are literally identical designs, but I guess this is the one that got lucky and got famous. Second bachelorette party. There's no way to ever actually find out, especially in the pre-Instagram world. But I wonder how many pictures have actually been taken here, because this is what happens all day, every day here. It's just a crowd of people surrounding it taking pictures. Too many actually. You can't even get a picture without other people in it. But it is really pretty. I should emphasize, it's not just the fountain that's pretty, but it's really the surrounding areas, like with this moss. I wish I had $1 on me for this guy. He's playing pretty well. So once you get to the north end of the park, you get to Gaston Street, and there's this other monument here, which is dedicated to fallen soldiers from Savannah from more modern conflicts. I think this was originally designed for World War II, but you'll also see Vietnam and Korea, and some one soldier who died in Lebanon. That are all listed on there. So it's a pretty cool site. Savannah, going up through Charleston, this whole coast, it's a huge place with the military, so you're not surprised to see these sorts of things. So the park is much larger, much taller, so it goes north and south much longer than it does east and west. So this strip at the top isn't quite as long, but I think that this patch right here on this path it kind of really gets the emphasis and gets the feel of the park itself. Most mornings I'll drive by and you'll see a lot of people who are running around the park. It's a good path. I think it's about 1 mile if you just do one lap. So you could do a couple laps and get a good run in. The weather's been kind of hit or miss so far. But today it's really hot. It's in the morning. It's already in the 80s. So I think coming up I'll try to do a run or ride my bike around here myself. All right, let's see what else we can find. All right, we're gonna break the rules for a minute and leave the park for just one thing, since we're right here. So, in Savannah, there are a bunch of houses, or I guess old mansions, that are historic sites now, and this is one of them. So they call them all, the house, named after the family that lived there or that built it. So this is the Armstrong House, and a lot of these have different purposes now. Museums, businesses. I think someone told me this is a law firm now, so like a law firm works here, I guess. But a very classic mansion, gives you a old school feel of the city. I don't know if I'm doing it any justice. It's really beautiful. Iron gate surrounding it, and a lot of statues. Pretty cool. Go back to the park. So there's the main path in the middle that we walk down, and then there's the path that goes all the way around the entire square of the park where people run. Then there's these little side paths, so let's take one. Just stopped for a minute to take a break on this bench, and really enjoying the pure beauty here. Tell you what though, it's hot. Living in Pennsylvania and Michigan, you complain about how brutal the winters are, and excited to come down here and just not have to deal with that. But everyone tells me just wait till it's July, and I keep saying, it's fine, I'll be able to handle it. But considering that this is March, I can imagine it's going to get really, really hot. But I can deal with it if you see this every day. Stunning. If you hear that squeaking, that I just heard one right now, and it was going crazy when I was trying to do the Armstrong House. There's these these Savannah tour buses. So I've only been here for a short time, but generally speaking, it seems like a lot of local people hate them because there's so many of them, and they're always clogging up the street and making noise, and they drive like 10 miles an hour down a main road. I actually went on one, and I thought it was great. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was really good, but I could see how they could get annoying after a while, especially if you're trying to film the Armstrong House and they're just squeaking with their brakes. Yeah, so now we're in the northwest corner of the park. You can see right behind me is the fountain. So there's one or two things I've been looking for before we leave. So let me go find them, and we'll be right back. So I found what I was looking for. So as I'm walking over there, I'll give you a little bit of a history, a couple facts about this place. Named after John Forsyth, who was a pretty well-known governor of Georgia. He was a governor of Georgia. He was in the House of Representatives representing Georgia. He was in the Senate representing Georgia. And then he was also the Secretary of State for two different presidents. So I guess you could say kind of a big deal from this area. So it's actually named after him. And the park itself is about 30 acres. feels pretty big. It's not, it's not Central Park in New York, but definitely take you a good amount of time to get around if you want to enjoy each and everything. But I can actually smell what I'm looking for, so let's go over there now. So, watching a YouTube video or walking through a beautiful park, you might take your sight for granted. So what they've actually done here is built a garden for the blind, and it's a garden specifically designed around smells. So let's check it out. You can see here, everything has braille, different types of flowers. It really is very fragrant here. You can smell a lot. So not about the visuals per se, but about the very unique smells of everything here. Pretty cool. And there's a nice little fountain in the middle, and it's a group of people taking pictures. I don't want to bother them. Yeah, the Fragrant Garden, it says. Seems underappreciated, but it's actually really nice. And as you come around, so this is where, oh yeah, here's another sign. Check this out. I mean, genuinely, it's a very pungent smell. You smell a lot, so it's pretty cool. Definitely more than anywhere else here. And as you come out, so now you kind of get round trip view. So this is the big grassy area that I started in. And then you can see behind me over here, behind these trees, that's the Confederate Monument. So, all right, so as we make our way back to the south end and get out of here, there's one or two things I kind of want to see on the way. It seems like there's a little bit less people now than when I first walked up. It was pretty wild when I was walking up, so I was actually walking down the grass like 10 feet off the path because it's too loud. So let's check this out. There's these bells or chimes or whatever here. So this is what I wanted to see. That one doesn't want to go. Interesting. All right, so now that I'm walking through here, especially this part right here, I know I have to go to Wormslow. So I talked about it before, but Wormslow has that, I don't really call it, it's an avenue, like a road, and there are huge oak trees on both sides, and the moss just hangs down, so you're like going through the tunnel of the trees, kind of like Game of Thrones or something. But I'll show you, this is similar. This is really nice too. Not quite the full effect, but pretty close. Was that yours? No. So walking up to the end now, I just wanted to show real quick that on this side there's some tennis courts, basketball courts. So those are pretty busy most days. I'm walking up to the statue now on Park Avenue. So thanks for watching. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick time lapse around the park because I just kind of want to do that. So I'll end there. So thank you for watching.